Welcome to Red Eye. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Shalhoub. Let's check in with TV's Andy Levy over in the Red Eye News Deck. Andy?
Congratulations, Tom.
Thanks. But for what?
Well, for your New York Mets clinching the National League East Championship.
Andy, I'm not really a Mets fan. I'm more of a...
Yes, kudos to you for hanging tough with a team that's disappointed so many times before, Tom.
Andy, again, I am not...
And credit to you for faithfully tweeting the hashtag Year of the Mets since way back in April, despite mockery from many of your followers.
Andy, I gotta tell you...
Oh, no, wait. That was me. Oh, that was me, not you. Let's go Mets and go to hell, Tom Shalhoub.
Let's welcome our guests. She met her husband in a bar. You have no idea how much hope that gives to our alcoholic viewers. I'm here tonight with Fox Business Network anchor Lori Rothman. He has a podcast on the Anthony Cumia Network and a barber in the Wild West. From the Gavin Mcinnes Show on the Anthony Cumia Podcast Network, it's Gavin Mcinnes. She shares a last name with one of the most influential men in American history, Jamie Kennedy. Host of Kennedy on the Fox Business Network, Kennedy. And of all the guys who look like they killed Joe Pesci in a movie, he's the funniest. Sitting right next to me is comedian Michael Vecchione. Okay, let's start the show. An art exhibit is forced to remove an anti-ISIS diorama. The terrorists win again. The Passion for Freedom art exhibit outside of London was set to showcase a series of tableaus satirizing the terrorist group with Sylvanian dolls, but no longer. Organizers removed the inflammatory pieces. This one's called ISIS Invading a Picnic, after police said it would require an extra $55,000 to secure the event. But all is not lost. We here at Red Eye are brave enough to show you the works of the London-based artist who goes by the name Mimsy. Here's ISIS interrupting your favorite television show. And here's ISIS invading a gay pride parade. Mimsy told a British website earlier this year that the childish quality of the images, quote, perfectly summarizes the mentality of religious fundamentalists. They are blowing themselves up and murdering for a cause that is so flat, thin, and childish, it may as well be depicted as if it were a toy set in an Argos catalog. I'm not familiar with that catalog. That must be a Great Britain toy catalog. Is that right, Kennedy?
I was reading that going, I should probably know what that is. That's probably one of those smart British references that people toss around who read The New Yorker.
Yeah, I did a quick look. It appears to be kind of like a Sears catalog.
Oh, very good. Yes. Yeah. No, I was very moved by Mimsy's artistry, and I thought that the contrasts evoked an emotional reaction, and I peed my pants with laughter.
It was not only funny, but look, let me see, Gavin. Mimsy said that she was inspired by the obvious fear of terrorism in the West and the neoliberal denial of any actual threat. Doesn't that prove that the piece, it proves her point, doesn't it?
Yeah, she's right. She proved her point. And this happened when Pamela Geller did this. Our first instinct was, why did you make those guys so mad? But the proper response is, if something is verboten in Western society, we have to do it. And I think these liberals think that kowtowing to ISIS is going to satiate them. That's the gasoline for their engine. The more you kowtow, the more you subjugate yourself, the more empowered they are. This has been a win for ISIS. Pamela Geller was a win for us.
And you're not getting friend points with ISIS.
Yeah.
The people who remove the exhibit, it's not like ISIS going, okay, those are our bros. When we go attack Great Britain, specifically London, let's make sure to leave those people off the list who took that down, because those are our friends.
That is true. Now, Mike,
Yes.
55,000. How many security guards do you think that was going to get them?
I don't know. It was going to be. I don't know how they got the dolls through airport security. That's really my question. Like, how did they do it?
Yeah, they probably separated the outfits from the dolls, right?
That had to be it. I don't know.
But
They were made of C4.
Well, the thing is, Lori, it obviously seems like it's kind of fun. They're kind of, it's interesting.
Fun? They were
Yes.
cheesy and corny. I kind of wanted to blow them up myself. I mean, I would never admit that.
But did they get you angry looking at these scenes?
No, it was silly. They didn't at all. In fact, I thought it was what irritated me more than anything is they don't blink about supplying security guards to sporting events or political events, but art exhibitions. No dice. You're not going to go there.
That is a lot of money, though.
It is a lot. 55,000. Well, imagine if
that's a lie.
You don't believe it?
No, you don't need $55,000 to provide security. You need $4,000.
Or is he some good friends
So wait a
who
minute,
play
Gavin,
football?
what do you think is the security?
This
It's just a
happens
couple
all the
of extra
time.
guys.
I've had controversial speakers trying to get them into colleges, and the college doesn't want to say we're too scared, so they just keep upping the security fee. It's all BS.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, what if maybe it was going to be, just $55,000, and they just send an extra guy out there, and then
Yeah,
they'd all
hire a
split the
retired cop.
$55,000.
They cost $500.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are plenty of retired people you can hire. Hire a retired meth head.
Put like an Arnold Schwarzenegger type on the scene so that, he'll take care of it.
Here's
Or
the
just
thing
charge
that-
higher dollar value for the ticket. And people are so determined to see, a show that's not, that is what it is, then let them pay a little more to see it. I mean,
Sure,
it's
they'll
pretty
pay a little more. I
straightforward.
saw this video today where ISIS was saying, it was one of these British jihadis who was saying, we will not rest. They sort of have a fake foreign accent, even though they're British. And we will not rest until the black flag flies above 10 Downing Street, until the black flag flies above the White House. And you're going, oh, and then it's going to be cool? I've seen what you guys do. You yell at
Exactly.
chicks in burqas for having purple socks. You're insatiable.
Oh, they wouldn't relax at that point, would
No.
they? They wouldn't just sit and have a cappuccino with you. Okay, Hillary Clinton appeared on Meet the Press on Sunday and deftly put to rest the email controversy. Also, she deftly put to rest the email controversy. Take a look.
There's only so much that I can control, but what I have tried to do in explaining this is to provide more transparency and more information than anybody that I'm aware of who's ever served in the government, and I'm happy to do that because I want these questions to be answered.
Clinton's staffers and supporters approved of her performance on Twitter. Karen Finney, Clinton's senior spokeswoman, wrote, "Questions on Hillary Clinton's emails on this morning's MTP asked and answered. Time to move on." Brad Woodhouse, head of a pro-Clinton super PAC, added, "Questions on Hillary Clinton's emails on this morning's MTP asked and answered. Time to move on." Former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm observed, "Cannot wait to see Hillary Clinton on Meet the Press. This AM sounds like she answered every email question ever. Now time to move on." Longtime Clinton supporter Hillary Rosen noted, "Questions on Hillary Clinton's emails yesterday. MTP asked and answered. Time to move on, please. Yes, please." And Buffy Wicks, head of another pro-Clinton super PAC, tweeted, "Hillary Clinton responds to questions about emails on MTP. Good answers. Time to move on to substance, please." Gavin, I have one question. Is it time to move on?
No, let's dig in. It's like she wants us to go, at this point, what difference does it make? It makes a lot of difference because we're getting all the juice now. Didn't we just learn that she started the birther movement? Didn't that just come out through the emails?
Yes, that was the Clinton campaign when she was running against Barack Obama in the primary before.
I cannot thank, I'm not a big Obama fan, but the fact that he released her hard drives to the public in an attempt to mess her with her campaign and get Biden in is the best thing he's ever done.
So you think that's your theory?
That's a given at this point. He hates her because she has sabotaged him in the past, so he doesn't want her messing with his legacy, and he's getting out there and giving us the gossip, and I can't wait to see the Benghazi gossip.
Well, I think released her hard drive.
Or the Ben Gossip, as it's known.
Yes, I think so too. Mike?
I think that's filthy. Release her hard drives.
Yeah, it does sound dirty. But do you think this was coordinated, Mike? It could be like on Twitter when 21 comedians come up with the exact same joke with the same hashtag.
No, I think
and they all tweeted at the same time.
I think there's an app now that if you're thinking the same thing, it just brings all of the thoughts together into one tweet.
Yes.
I just think this is their mantra. All the way back to the Bill Clinton era. Move on, move it along, nothing to see here, no scandals, nothing, we haven't done anything wrong.
I wonder how that'll work with the FBI, though. I wonder if those talking points, if they could just forward those to FBI investigators and they could say, asked and answered, time to move on. And really, I don't think that we've heard appropriate answers to the questions we really need to hear, which is, why did you have a private server in the first place? What were you shielding yourself from? Why didn't you have some sort of an independent outside source going through those emails with you just to make sure there was no conflict of interest? Because that is the opposite of transparency. That's opacity. And then she also makes the unverifiable claim that she's the most transparent person who's ever held a government job.
Yeah, I
How
guess
can you possibly verify something like that?
You cannot verify that. But the thing is, should we be doing these? I don't know, Kennedy, if the what do you call the hearings? If these hearings were, because they drag on forever and they never seem to get anywhere. they're not going to get a conviction out of it or a guilty verdict.
Well, no, but that's why the FBI is investigating. I mean, you have 5 separate agencies who are going over these emails as is, and the FBI is in the middle of a criminal investigation, whether or not she or her people want to admit that. And that's separate from what Trey Gowdy and the select committee is doing on Capitol Hill. Those are 2 completely separate things. And, Chuck Grassley and Trey Gowdy, they've talked about offering her IT guy immunity so he can go in and they're going to have what is it called, a procurement session where they sit down and just whip him with tiny pieces of bamboo. I think
it's just that I feel like when you get into the details, people start to lose it. Instead of just letting the reporters go at her, now they can say that it's just a witch hunt, and I feel like it's just if you let the reporters ask her questions, she's never going to be able to answer them, right?
Of course, and it also is an indication that someone is losing. Like Columbia just tried to do this with Mattress Girl. They said, let's just throw out the whole case, because it wasn't based on your gender, it was based on the circumstances, and they had some dumb little nuance.
Mattress Girl, a woman who wore a mattress.
Yes, who used her rape mattress as a performance art piece that she got credit for. So the innocent accused is suing the school. And they basically just said, it's time to move on. What that means is you're guilty.
That entity, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Columbia University, of course she wants everyone to move on because no one is paying attention to anything she's saying, whether it's the Keystone XL pipeline or, Donald Trump's tax plan. No one cares because there's so much damning information that comes out every time we get a new trove of emails.
So why did the Clinton campaign then let these identical emails slide? How did they figure nobody would catch on to that?
Well, it's the old move on. I mean, because move on has worked in the past,
but
just like you said.
But the fact that so many people said the same thing, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is
so
remarkable.
when the FBI issues, subpoenas, or at least when she's indicted, then people are going to say, oh, this is a totally different ballgame. Perhaps this isn't a witch hunt. Perhaps she really has broken the law on several fronts.
I'm going to use that next time I get pulled over by a cop. I'm going to say, can we move on, please?
You're so obsessed with me breaking a law 8 minutes ago.
Many campaign ads are not crazy at all, and so we ignore them, which brings us to a congressional race in North Carolina. Republican Renee Elmers is facing a stiff primary challenge from a former county official, but there's another lesser-known candidate, a former North Carolina GOP spokeswoman named Kay Daly. And judging from Daly's new ad, she ain't playing.
This feminist voted to cut veterans' benefits and to gut the military budget. She sponsored a tax increase in the radical ERA and voted to let homosexuals pretend they're married. She's a rhino who voted to fund Obamacare and to raise the debt ceiling twice to pay for abortions in D.C. and to fund Planned Butcherhood. She's pro-amnesty and voted to let convicted illegal alien child molesters stay in America.
Yes.
And, as a Republican, you can be a rhino.
I'm Kay Daly, and this is my message. I'm hunting rhinos. Care to join me?
Day also released a statement warning that Congresswoman Elmers, quote, Hispanders to undocumented immigrants, and she pointed out that Elmers supported, quote, Hillary Clinton's feminist museum bill, otherwise known as the National Women's History Museum. Gavin, you started an ad agency. Is this a good ad?
Yeah, it looked great to me. I don't know.
Target audience.
Everyone was laughing, and I was watching it going, yep, seems reasonable.
So it's going to work. You think it's good?
You know what the real problem here is pundits and academics and bloggers and journalists are totally out of touch with America. They see that and they roll their eyes and go, you had a picture, you called Mexican illegals pedophiles. The rest of us here on Earth go, yep.
Well, I do like an ad.
Something like 70% of the girls crossing the border have some form of rape happen to them. This is all real stuff.
That's almost as high as most college campuses in this country, if you believe the left.
Well, look, I like an ad that ends with a woman shooting a gun, so I thought it did have a good closer.
Reminds you of Joni Ernst, rather.
Yes.
And also there's a Clay Aiken component to the story, which makes it near perfect. Absolutely, because Elmers beat Clay Aiken 2014.
His singing couldn't save him.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Shooting a gun beats
Just
singing.
ask Ruben Studdard.
So Elmers, a Republican, beat the singer who was a Democrat, right?
Who was formerly
didn't Clay Aiken's other opponent die?
Yes, that was crazy.
Under mysterious circumstances.
Okay, well, Lori, you were one of the people Gavin spoke about who was snickering at that. Did you find it to be crazy?
Not again to her target audience, to those ultra right-wing people, but I think I don't know, she had fantastic hair. And for
Which
hunting,
part was factually incorrect?
well, okay, she's criticizing the opponent for, leaning more central, right? Which happens all the time. I'm not saying she was a total flip-flopper, but she won in the big Tea Party overhaul, right, in 2010, right? And then she kind of went a little soft, and she ticked off her base, the Tea Party base.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes.
And so, and so she's entitled to do that. I mean, she's elected, and now it's kind of up to her to get reelected. And this woman is a fringe candidate, and she's, pulling out all the stops or the guns and
all the facts.
And Mike, she had footage. Elmers said she called herself a rhino repeatedly. I think 3 times in a row, didn't she?
Wow, she did. I like it's the remix. I like the remix,
Yes.
and then the shooting of the gun. Anything shooting of a gun, punching a shark, drinking out of a water fountain, it's all insane to me, and I like it.
I think she has a shot.
I just like that we were introduced to a new amalgamated expression, Hispanders. And if you think I'm not using that at least 15 times this week, you're his-crazy.
She's Hispandering. Now, I don't understand. Can you Hispander to non-Hispanics?
Sure you can. I'd love to try.
How do you do it?
We'll go out for margaritas after the show and give it a whirl.
Hit the Chipotle.
All right, coming up. Should the drinking age be lowered? I say yes, but only if the eating age is raised. Stay tuned. At what age should you be allowed to drink? In my opinion, if you're old enough to head off to war and jump out of a troop transport, you're old enough to down a shot of liquid courage. But to many, 21 is still the way to go. In a new study, Andrew Plunk, assistant professor of pediatrics at Eastern Virginia Medical School, writes that before the 1984 National Minimum Drinking Age Act, how appropriately titled that act was, right?
Yeah. That's a beautiful acronym, too.
States that allowed residents to drink at ages lower than 21 saw higher high school dropout rates, in addition to what's already been documented as other effects such as lower educational attainment, higher substance abuse, and more. According to Plunk, we saw a 3% increase in dropout rates in the whole sample. In already at-risk groups of dropping out of high school, like blacks and Hispanics, we saw a 4% increase. In today's numbers, with 3.3 million students expected to graduate this year, that means 99,000 more of them would drop out. But correlation does not imply causation. These states had a lower drinking age. They may have had dozens of other factors that led to high school dropout rates. Schools may have changed, times may have changed, people may have changed. The real question should be, is it right? Are they adults or not? I say either lower the drinking age or don't let them vote till they're 21. Kennedy, isn't dancing the real problem?
Absolutely right. That is exactly right. And you know what dancing leads to? Drinking and fornication.
That's right.
And 6 babies.
It's in the documentary Footloose.
Which is, it's one of our finest programs. You're absolutely right. The documentary was so effective, they remade it, as you should do with effective documentaries. Now, I tend to agree with Glenn Reynolds on this. And if you are old enough to shoot, then you're old enough to take a shot. And even if this only applies to our men and women in uniform, they certainly should be allowed and able to drink alcohol at 18. You know, you're absolutely right. Otherwise, then if you're going to enlist in the armed forces, you have to raise that age to 21 as well. It's a pretty arbitrary number.
Yes, Gavin, obviously they did it because they said, well, look, it's going to save lives. But lowering the speed limit to 35 across the nation would save lives as well. But we don't do that.
Yeah, making everyone in the country brush their teeth at gunpoint would probably make cavities plummet.
I always brush my teeth at gunpoint, Gavin.
The thing I don't get about these surveys is they talk about dropping out like it's a bad thing. Why is education so important? I mean, especially now that education means learning about Marx and learning that gender doesn't exist and learning that nothing exists and everything is a lie. What about learning a trade? I think the only people who should be educated are nerds who are genuinely interested in STEM. Everyone else, get the hell out of school, get a nice solid trade like welding. Let's have some fun
Make
again.
a lot more money welding
Education should be
than
esoteric.
you do as a liberal arts TA.
Exactly.
Gavin does make a good point. Mike, remember in high
I like
school?
his anti-education stance.
Well,
Education, schmeducation.
It's, he may have a point, though. Do you remember when the kids who weren't great students, they went to the agricultural school or
Right.
they went to the trade school,
Are
right?
you saying that to me because I look like I should be in a trade school?
FFA,
I know
baby.
it.
Did you get to keep your tools when you left?
Let's get back to the. I don't think
What are
there
the
should.
4 H's? Husbandry, preparation.
You lost me.
Yeah.
On that, I'm not.
No, he's
maybe
not
I
a role.
should be in a trade
You're
school.
more of a machine repair type, it seems to me.
I look like a union.
Than an agricultural guy.
I look like I should have a union card.
But do you think that there should be that 3-year period where you're an adult but you still can't drink?
No, I think you should be able to drink. I think there should be no age. I think it should be like in Europe. You should be able to eat. Drinking is fun. Is everybody forgetting that?
Yes.
It's a good time. And then the hangover teaches you to overcome adversity.
Absolutely right.
That is
I
true,
like that.
because you got to deal with it on your own. Lori.
I don't
He may
know.
be right.
I think you're an idiot when you're 21, so when you're 18, you're even more of an idiot. And I say that
So
collectively.
raise the drinking age to 25. I mean, that's
Yeah,
why it's
well,
arbitrary,
right,
because
right.
some
No,
people
I
are
agree
able
with
to
this,
metabolize
right.
alcohol
I don't think you
when
should
they're
lower the
18.
drinking
Some
age, I
people
think you should
can't when
higher.
they're 26.
That said,
you're
I
gonna be
do
drunk
think that
renting
if
a
you're
car.
in the military, I think you made a great point about then raise the minimum age to join the military.
How about
Full
this?
stop.
By the way, everyone's drinking at 15, just for
Yeah.
the record.
Yes.
14,
Actually
15,
are,
you're
yeah.
projectile vomiting for the first 2 years. All it means is I can't go to
Yeah.
clubs that are strict about ID.
That's it.
Yeah.
Gavin, they're drinking on the tracks. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Much more dangerous.
Let them go into the bars and they'll be safe.
And
won't
that's
they?
why hundreds of college presidents have actually encouraged lawmakers, if not to lower the drinking age, then at least make it a state-by-state case, because people who are matriculating on college campuses are drinking as it is. But now they're breaking the law and they're going to run afoul of it and get in all sorts of trouble and cripple their adulthood before it really begins.
Don't
You're
drink and
ruining my fake
matriculate.
ID business.
Look, here's the real thing. If you ever drive out of New York City,
Never.
No.
these bars, they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
knock
tell
the
me
suburbs.
everyone
Do not knock the
who doesn't
suburbs.
live in New York is drinking and driving.
Oh my
know where
God!
you're
I grew up in Quebec, in Canada. It's 18 there, and we all went, 18? Are you crazy? I'm not waiting another 4 years. So we would just walk into the forest for an hour and have a bush bash.
Yes.
And everyone would get blitzed around a bonfire.
That's
and
drinking?
then
No,
when
I
it was
think that's
legal
what
at
it's
18,
called
we
when
go,
you get a virgin
okay.
cheerleader pregnant.
Yeah, I was going to say a bush bash.
Oh, there was no fornicating going on. We were way too wasted.
No, that was, I mean, in my high school, everyone went to the woods. There were
Yeah.
fires
We
in
went
the
to
woods.
Powers Park, which was on the Willamette River in Portland, and everyone had little red cups, which was awful, and I condemn it, and I don't celebrate that at all.
Yeah, I
but you
refuse
remember
to
it.
drink
That
alcohol.
memory
at
is
I
all.
did
big
because
for you.
I actually didn't drink in
And not do the
high
red
school,
Solo
and my
cup.
mom knew
It's
it,
gotta
so
be on a
I
glass.
was the designated
That's my
driver. I was the
only
one holding my
particular.
friend's hair back, and they were all over the car.
How about this, Gavin? Lower the drinking age just for guys.
Yeah, well, women don't have the enzymes to break down
Talk about
alcohol.
arbitrary.
They
I
are
mean-
the Asians of gender, and they don't have what it takes to break down the booze.
See, I knew it. I knew I'd find a
That's a
kindred
fact.
spirit
That's a
in
fact.
Gavin. All right. Coming up, scientists discover water on Mars. Still no sign of intelligent life. But first, the Andy Levy Report with its TV halftime next. Welcome back. Time to find out what we got wrong and what we missed from TV's Andy Levy over in the Red Eye News Deck. Andy.
Tom, how are you?
Great.
Good. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Anti-ISIS artwork dropped from show. Gavin, you said the proper response if something is verboten in Western society is we have to do it.
Yes.
I agree. I'll go further, though. I don't understand what's inflammatory about this artwork. All the things it's pointing out that ISIS stands for, ISIS says it stands for. They're not looking. They're looking at this and they're going, "It's true. We do that."
And we're afraid of offending ISIS.
But
This
we're
isn't
not-
even just Muslims or moderate Muslims.
That's what
This
I'm
is
saying.
The worst people in the world who proudly advertise that, and you can't offend them.
But you're not even offending them. You're showing what they proudly do.
Exactly, yes.
I don't get it. Yeah. As the art critic for The Guardian says that the satire is actually not on ISIS, but it's on the West pretending that nothing is happening.
Right.
So maybe we're offending ourselves.
Oh, we missed
Good.
something.
Offend us. We're idiots.
Works on a number of levels.
It
Thank
really
you for
does.
pointing that out.
Yeah. You wouldn't, it's not just kids' art, Lori.
Is that a diss?
That was really hard to
I
know
hope
what
the
that
Mets lose. And that guy that wears that chartreuse armband, he's a one-hit wonder. What's his name?
Postseason, baby.
No, what's his name? It's
Nobody cares, Lori.
yeah, my point exactly.
Kennedy, you said the
Not about
people
me.
who wouldn't let the art be shown aren't winning any friends among ISIS. Actually, I hate to correct you. ISIS put out a statement saying of the exhibitors who won't show the art, quote, "You're all right in our book."
Yeah, I think that's right, Andy.
Yeah.
They're
I'm
rarely
proud
that
of you
concise.
for doing that research because we forget how active they are on social media, which
Absolutely.
means they're probably using Google and Bing to find these people.
Oh, hold on, nobody's using Bing.
Google and Bing. Wow.
Actually, the operating system in my office unfortunately only allows me to use Bing.
I once binged Google Crosby by mistake.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
My
Lori,
Cess.
Lori,
Cess
you didn't
something.
like
That's
the
his-
artwork, and you said you would blow it up yourself, and then you said you would never admit that. You understand you're vaguely on TV, right?
Vaguely. Tongue in cheek.
Okay. All right. Hillary supporters all tweet the same thing. It's weird. People who work for a robot tweeted the exact same thing at the same time. It's weird. Gavin, the birther stuff didn't just come out in these emails. It was actually reported back in 2008, the Hillary campaign birther stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not
Well,
new.
why is it all over the news today?
It's just because Trump kind of said that Hillary was the original birther and she denied it. And then people were saying, no, here's what happened back then. Yeah.
I heard his birth certificate looks Photoshop. I'm pretty agnostic about the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Lori, you are absolutely right, though. This is the Clinton mantra every time. The move on, nothing to see here, vast right-wing conspiracy. What difference at this point does this make, et cetera? This is what they do.
This is what they do.
I agree with you.
All the way back to Vince Foster, right?
Oh, God rest his soul.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kennedy, you took issue with Hillary's contention that she is the most transparent person that's ever held a government job. She might be right, though. Every time she speaks, she is transparently lying.
She is in that regard. She is lucite.
Yeah. The thing about the tweeting that they all tweeted at the same time, in any other field except politics, this would be embarrassing. But in politics, it's like they can't be embarrassed. They have no shame.
Yeah.
Well said, Andy.
Thank you. Kay Daly's rhino hunting ad. Kennedy, you said Renee Elmers beat Clay Aiken in 2014. You seemed unsure about the year.
Was it 20?
No, you were correct.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you, Andy. Wow, that's like winning a brand new car.
Not really. Also, according to her website, Kay Daly has been endorsed by Dog the Bounty Hunter. Oh, so that's fun.
And Beth, or just dog?
Say again?
Beth as well.
It did not mention Beth.
Okay.
No. Mike, you said you liked the gun.
Yes.
I mean,
Powerful.
Well, who didn't?
Powerful stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because in the ad she says she's going rhino hunting, and then she fires the shotgun.
Right.
On her website, though, in a section called "What They Say About Renee," the person she's challenging, she has a quote from Rich Lowry saying Renee Elmers, quote, should be shot, hanged, and wrapped in a carpet and thrown in the Potomac River. Then there's an asterisk next to it, and it says, the Daly campaign does not advocate the shooting or hanging of congressmen.
Okay. I like that. Those are bold choices.
It's just a little weird, because then she's going rhino hunting. Does the drinking age affect dropout rates? Tom, you don't like the drinking age being 18, and you cited the National Drinking Age Act of 1984 that gave us that.
Yeah.
You understand that act was signed into law by President Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, it is strange.
Yeah, so you're not liking it is just more proof that you're a huge rhino.
I guess I am. I mean, wow.
Kennedy, you mentioned the possibility of lowering the drinking age to 18 for people who serve in the military.
That's right.
That would be a hell of a recruiting tool, wouldn't it?
Andy, you have worn the uniform and served this nation proudly, and if you endorse it, then I am proud to be your friend.
Yeah. I'm old enough that I could drink at 18.
Wow.
You could drink an 18-year-old.
In your state, right?
In New York, yeah.
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 You couldn't in Massachusetts was long before.
I don't know. Who the hell goes to Massachusetts?
Well, just saying the way things were back in my hood.
Tom, you mentioned, so you couldn't drink at 18?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you?
Huh? I had occasional beer.
Yeah, you're Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of your
I think-
culture.
What are you saying?
I got grandfathered in is what happened, I think, because when the bill passed, I must have been like 18 when the bill passed in '84.
And they allowed.
But if you were already 18, you could drink. Yeah.
Very. Yeah.
The people watching the show are just loving that information.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
They're hammered now.
Yeah.
I don't think you could make it against the law, right, Andy? It's that they don't remove federal funds from the state if they don't.
Highway funds.
Highway funds, yeah.
Tom, you mentioned that the point of lowering the drinking age is to save lives. My feeling on that is if it does, I don't care. I don't think you take away rights from adults because some people can't handle those rights.
There you go.
Amen, Andy.
Yeah. I don't feel like saying that. I am going to leave now.
All right, Andy, thank you.
Go Mets.
All right, gotta go. Spiders terrorize humans when we return, but first, some chick with her own show.
Yes.
The itsy bitsy spider was nearly the death of us all. A man in Detroit was filling up the tank of his car when he noticed a spider by his fuel tank. He did what any of us would do in such a situation, tried to light it on fire. That's when this happened. See him there? He sees the spider. He's deciding, he lights it on fire there. Quickly spreads.
I would so totally do that too.
That escalated quickly. The man, whose face is obscured and thus there's no real way to know if it's one of your dumb relatives, reportedly apologized to the workers at the gas station. The spider sadly was missing and presumed dead, at least until this happened.
Spider screaming.
Wow. Mike, should we judge this guy so harshly? He was afraid of spiders.
First of all, this was in Detroit. Am I right? Did
Yes.
anybody notice? Detroit is such a mess.
Exactly.
That's not nice.
He apologized. And apparently he wasn't.
From what I understand, the insurance covered it. What kind of insurance does this guy have?
Yeah, and where can I find it?
This is unbelievable insurance.
I haven't seen
ironclad
Don't you want to get that policy?
I really do.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that much fun at a gas station since Zoolander.
Wouldn't you love to do this to a spider, though? It's tempting to show this spider the power of the human being.
Yes.
As a food chain.
I think maybe that's what he was doing. I mean,
He's dumb. I mean, the fact that he didn't understand the correlation between gas and fire, and he didn't go one step further.
Wait a minute, though,
Smoke at
Kennedy.
gas stations.
The thing is, these gas
You're
pumps
not
are
supposed to talk
not
on your
drip.
cell phone when you're pumping
Why
gas
is
because
case
a little
a
bit of
spark flies
static
out.
electricity could
that
ignite.
true?
Yes.
But I thought we were
did
safer
that
now
all
with all these pumps that have the safety valves on them. Why was there gasoline all over the ground? Look at that.
Because
Spiders,
it's topping
man.
off.
There's
That's why.
spiders all over this.
They did. They blew it out. But the pump was ruined. It caused a lot of damage. So
He's lucky he didn't blow the whole place up.
I thought that's what would naturally happen.
Right. It
I
must
guess
have
there's
just
better insulation
No.
then.
No, are your gas
no,
station?
No, but there was no injuries, and it wasn't that much damage.
And the worker hit
And it was
the
hilarious.
automatic fuel shut-off cell.
look,
Yeah.
Oh, well, that
it
was
quick
quick
thinking.
I
thinking.
know we all hate white men and the patriarchy, but they have designed some pretty awesome
you.
gas stations that can survive some pretty stupid people.
I love a good gas station. Pulling in late at night, pumping my own gas.
That's incredible technology.
It was terrible.
You don't go to the full serve?
I know, full serve, the tyranny of full
I
serve,
can't
which
see
they
you
have in
pumping
Jersey.
gas.
Right. Yeah, it's the worst.
They force you.
They have to do. There's no.
Right.
Same in Oregon. Oregon and New Jersey are the two states where you are not allowed to pump your own gas.
You have to beg
Well,
them.
that's
May I
exactly
please
why.
pump my own gas? I need to be free.
It is horrible.
Oh, you beg them? I do something completely different.
Gavin, did you
do
know
tell.
that film, Eight-Legged Freaks?
Yes.
That, because of the massive size of our audience, that's more people seeing Eight-Legged Freaks than saw the film.
Thank God, it's a classic. It's a spine-tingling classic that gets.
Don't you
a little
remember
attention.
but don't you remember the weekend disaster movies with like Tarantula and Kingdom of the Spiders?
Yeah.
These like early 80s disaster movies, and I would look forward to them all week.
Yeah, but there's
And
something
then I got
about
a tarantula
spiders.
for my 8th birthday.
I honestly don't understand this fear of spiders. I get a cockroach because it's quick and it can scurry up your leg. Or I get snakes because you're worried they'll go into your orifice and lay eggs or something.
Oh, wow.
But a spider
can bite you. A spider can bite.
Spiders don't. When was the last time you had a spider bite? And even if you do get bit, it's like a mosquito bite. They just had that woman who jumped out of her car, left her son in the car. The car was totaled. The son almost died trying to jump in the front and figure out how cars work. What? I don't get what's so scary about a spider. I'll eat one right now for $2.
It's true, and they spin the most beautiful webs.
Lori, the tragedy of this guy is that a week before, when this woman jumped out and almost killed her kid because of the spider, Gavin and I were like, oh, look at these women. A guy would never do that.
Yeah,
and then a guy goes and does
Like
it.
the gas station, that's fire. What
I
a
was the
genius.
first to admit that I would totally do something like that. Not for a spider, but definitely for a cockroach or like a
I mean, we
bat.
did that
For a
as young
kale.
people. It's really stupid. But didn't you ever have Aquanet and a lighter?
Oh, those were the days.
It's like
Yeah.
smash him or crush him with your foot. But that.
Or Aquanet and a lighter.
They don't
And
do
the-
it.
We have to
Take
go.
Aquanet.
We have to go. We'll close things out with a bedtime story.
God, I will never forget the smell. The Aquanet. What is the spider story?
Romance is alive and well in the good old UK, where one man reportedly demanded a woman transfer money to his account to pay for the drink he bought her after she declined a follow-up date. This is after she turned him down in the nicest possible way. He asks her out again, and her response is, "Lovely to meet you too. You are a very nice and passionate person, but I am not sure we really are right for each other. I am quite a reserved person, but wouldn't want you to change. Hope you have better luck with future dates." Sounds reasonable to me. Not so to the guy who sends a text reading, "You're unfair, and I'm now sorry I paid for your drink tonight. Can I ask you to pay me back for it? It would just be fair." The cost of the drink, £4.50 or $7. That's not nothing. He even sent his bank info to her to make the transfer. It amazes me that this guy is still single. Gavin, I bet you see nothing wrong with this. He should be paid back, right?
No, if you're going out and you spend money on a bird and she don't put out, I mean, what's going on? Why waste your time? You take her out to a movie and you spend money, you deserve a little reciprocation, you know what I mean?
That's like Morrissey with hearing loss.
I think these birds need to know that nothing's free anymore, you know?
Yes, well, listen, Kennedy, at least she didn't make him buy a second drink. It doesn't seem like she took advantage of him.
She wasn't stringing him along, and this guy's such a sociopath, he can't read between the lines. I think she was actually being very gracious, like, "Oh, you're so passionate and fun, and I'm really reserved, and we're just not right for each other, but thank you so much." I mean, that's when you go, oh, she is not interested at all. On to the next. But he wouldn't let it go. I mean, after that, the exchange went on and on. He's like, "Well, don't you come over and I'll make you some dinner, some pudding."
This guy is really...
Gravy.
You're bringing him to life. It's
That's
amazing. Mike.
You go the opposite direction, Tom. Okay,
Yep.
you send. You just instead of asking for your money back, you send flowers, then fruit, then edible arrangements.
That's
you
it.
Keep building on it.
Yes.
So how
She
have
can't
you done
resist.
that? Like, how many times have you
I
gone
do
back
not.
for more?
I don't quit.
You take no for an answer? Oh, no, you don't quit?
No, I
Okay.
don't quit. I
You
keep
know who
coming.
else didn't take no for an answer?
Who's that?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh.
I like the comparison.
Yeah, boom.
Lori,
Yes, sir.
I think this guy, obviously, I liked the way his first texts were like, you should rethink what you're saying. I'm really a
Right.
fun guy. And then,
Yeah,
he went through a
fun
lot of
guy.
texts before he asked for the money back. I thought that was where he seemed like a weirdo.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, obviously he was crushed, devastated. He really liked this girl, and he, just was probably doing anything he could to stay in contact with her. And little did he know that she would. Was it the girl who blasted it?
Yeah, she
No,
sent
her
it out.
friend
Well,
did. It
naturally.
was actually
it was her
her
friend.
friend.
She
But it was
shared
someone
with a
on
friend.
her side.
We got to go. Very special thanks to Lori Rothman, Gavin Mcinnes, Kennedy, and Mike Vecchione. That does it for me, Tom Shalhoub. I'll see you next time.